What is up, everybody? I'm NoLuxGiven, and welcome to Wonder Waddle Week. This is something that I'm trying out where, because Wonder Waddle has recently been nerfed, I want to try to find the next Wonder Waddle, and more specifically, I want to find the best hero to try to force Hatball comps on, which are some of the most fun comps in Storybook Brawl and part of what made the old Wonder Waddle so powerful. And I think that Horde Dragon is actually a pretty good Hatball user. I've talked about this a lot in the past, but I wanted to start off with Horde Dragon because Horde Dragon, while it might not seem like it on the surface, is actually very similar to Wonder Waddle. And here is the thesis of the video. Wonder Waddle, when you could combine 2 donkeys, 2 stags, or 2 pigs, that meant you were spending 6 gold to get a tier 3 treasure. And another hero that can spend 6 gold to grab a tier 3 treasure is, of course, Horde Dragon. Now, Cinderella notwithstanding, otherwise, if you're going to pick up a tier 3 treasure, it's going to require you picking up 3 level 2 units, which is the same amount of gold that Wonder Waddle could use to pick up 2 level 3 units and have looks for Crystal Ball and Merlin's Hat, which are both tier 3 treasures. So I think that Horde Dragon, and I've talked about this a lot in the past as well, but Horde Dragon is a really good hero when you are looking to force Hatball, which is of course a lot of fun. So I don't blame you if that's what you are trying to do. And we get off to a start here picking up a Cinderella and a Wizard's Familiar. That's typically how I like to start playing Horde Dragon. Typically when I play Horde Dragon, similarly to how I will play Wonder Waddle in the past, I'll start by trying to force Crystal Ball and Mage-based compositions and trying to find all of the Wizard's Familiars. The best thing is if you can triple a Wizard's Familiar and find a Merlin's Hat or a Crystal Ball. Obviously, those things are very powerful. And then also kind of similar to Wonder Waddle, Horde Dragon also really enjoys a blind mouse and getting to grab a really powerful treasure ahead of the curve. With Horde Dragon, you grab tier 5 treasures though, so that's even a little bit more exciting. Because I like casting spells on Horde Dragon and forcing this comp, I'm going to pick up the Spellweaver before using this True Love's Kiss on Cinderella, and unfortunately we don't find the hat or the ball. We're going to pick up a Sting. I do also want to mention that this gameplay footage is actually from 2 patches ago. This is, we're going to be looking at all different sorts of games this week. One of the games I'm going to look at, I played on the mobile version of the game. So we're still exploring a bunch of different game aspects despite looking at only Hatball comps this week. But Horde Dragon, yeah, this game will be on an old patch and I figured I would start with this one. Like I said, I've talked about Horde Dragon's ability to Hatball a lot in the past, and I think it's a very, very strong way to play the hero. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We'll pick up the Spellweaver, and there is the Crystal Ball, the classic Crystal Ball art. I'm sure we'll probably see that in... Actually, we might not see that. This might be the only game this week where we see the old Crystal Ball art, because that was changed on the previous patch. So a nice little tribute to that as well. And the important thing to realize here, of course, like I said, is that we only spend 6 gold to find this Crystal Ball. The Cindy didn't really count as much. That was just a freebie, and that's also part of the reason that I think Horde Dragon is so nice. You actually want that Cinderella for a free look at Crystal Ball. Of course, with Horde Dragon, you won't have access to any of those tier 2 treasures that can help you cast some more spells or beef up your spells a little bit more. However, you do have an easier access to some of those crazy powerful endgame treasures, so that can lead to a lot of power for you. We'll end up taking out both of my opponent's Romeos before taking out the Juliet, which is really cool, but then we never actually take out the Juliet, so a little bit awkward. Do kind of have to finish the job there. I'm also going to pick up a Baby Root just picking up pears. We're Horde Dragon, so let's pick up some pears here, and then I'll fire off a magic research, and then I'm gonna feed one of my bigger units, but one of my only non-pairs to the Kraken, and then I will put a Polywoggle into the sling spot, and I'll lock onto this shop. I think I'm locking onto this basically because it's got 2 4-cost characters and a Masquerade Ball. But then I realized I want to find some more pairs, and we are going to find a pair right now, and we are going to complete that. I would have really loved to pick up Hat, but we're not going to get super, super lucky in this one, which I think actually gives more data to my thesis. If we just got super lucky, like this, well, actually this Wonder Waddle has not found Crystal Ball. This is a pre-nerf Wonder Waddle that, like you can see, is trying to do Wonder Waddle things. They're trying to do the same thing that we're doing, which is hunt for Crystal Ball, but we found the Crystal Ball at least, which is the more powerful or more important piece of the puzzle. They found the hat, but they are still ballless, and we are hatless. And because of that, I'm going to pick up some XP. Picking up XP so that you can try to find Aeon rather than care about Merlin's hat is another way to go. That's why the Crystal Ball is the more important piece. There's tons of ways to reduce the cost of your spells, but there's only one Crystal Ball, so we've got that. But yeah, you can see a great example. Wonder Waddle hunting super hard for those tier 3 treasures, and unfortunately for them, unable to find them. But maybe fortunately for us, as we are the true Wonder Waddle in this lobby as Horde Dragon, and as the game goes on, we are going to continue to have access to even more powerful treasures that we could potentially do some crazy stuff with in the end game. We're playing an Empress P that isn't actually supported by anything, but we still have the stats to take out this Celestial Tiger, so we're doing okay. We are also going to get a free Lancelot from our Polywoggle, and we get to activate that Lancelot thanks to our Crystal Ball. That'll give us a tier 6 treasure, not a tier 5 treasure, which is good because there's not really any tier 5 treasures that I super care about, but I am happy enough to pick up another Wizard's Familiar to round this turn out. And next turn, we will just really hope that we can find an Aeon to add onto the board. But for right now, we are going to be activating this Lancelot, grabbing a tier 6 treasure, and that should be a nice little power spike for us as well. We take out their donkey, we don't steal anything with our siren, and we crash into their absolutely massive nutcracker. We're going to wind up taking a little bit of damage here, down to 14, but that's okay. And Wand of Weirding has the word spell on it, so we might as well take that. It's basically the same as Forking Rod once we get our spells to be a little bit cheaper, but it'll also be strong for us right now while we're still getting stuff off the ground. And I don't hate the idea of just taking a True Love's Kiss to our Lancelot and activating our Jormungand. Interestingly, you could see it rolled by a Hercules briefly, which I believe means that we will now no longer have access to Hercules this game. A little bit awkward, but we've got a 45-42 Jormungand, which at the very least should mean that we are not losing any of our combats anytime soon. And I think that's going to give me the flexibility next turn to really just roll for Aeon and find that. We do also have one other opportunity though, which is the Golden Chicken pair that we have in our hand. Golden Chickens, also great on Wonder Waddle, potentially even better on Horde Dragon. If we triple those Golden Chickens, we grab a tier 3 treasure, which could give us Merlin's hat, and then we can just immediately sell off the Golden Chickens, and that hat only cost us 2 gold, which is an even better rate than Wonder Waddle would be able to get it for. So that's also going to be something that we are on the lookout for, but hopefully we can find an Aeon. I'm going to flip over my Sherwood Sure Shot. Then we have Baba Yaga, but Baba Yaga with no Aeon is a little bit awkward. I do know that we have the Jormungand, but we're trying to force Hat Ball here. I'll fire off the Genie's Wish, and that is not going to give us any targeted spells, but then I find the Golden Chicken, that gives me Merlin's hat. So we are now Hat Ball. We've already cast our spell for the turn. So unless I want to like lock on to this Masquerade Ball, which would be a double cast Masquerade Ball, it's definitely got some potential to lock onto it. I think I'm just going to float this treasure. That allows me to hang on to the Ring of Rage for this turn, and then we can sell off the or we can get rid of the Ring of Rage and pick up Merlin's hat next turn, and our board is already good. We can sell off the Golden Chicken and start really casting some spells on the next turn. So that's the plan. Kitty Cutpurse not quite going to get the sleigh, but Jormungand will be able to bring us home, win that 4 glory, and bring us into the top 4 of this lobby. How are we doing? Yeah, top 4. The Wonder Waddle is still alive. So maybe the Wonder Waddle found their crystal ball of their own capacity, but I think that we're pretty strong now. We're double casting all of these spells, so I think we're a little bit scary for sure. I'm going to wind up giving my Jormungand just a little bit more health, and then I'll roll down here, and we'll give the Kitty Cutpurse some more attack, so that way that can potentially slay as well. Don't want to dream, because we're already Horde Dragon, which is a premier endgame hero. I'll just give that Kitty Cutpurse a little bit more attack, even so, to end off the turn, and then I'm going to wind up casting this Drink Me Potion and firing off a few more spells before the turn's over. I do wind up trying to flip the Jormungand and see if we can find anything cooler. We find an Ashwood Elm, which is kind of cool. It's not going to be as large as Jormungand, but maybe there's some fun stuff that we can do with it. And we can see that Krampus is also trying to Hat Ball, but Horde Dragon is the premier, is the better Wonder Waddler, so we are going to Hat Ball just a little bit better than them. Fire off a Genie's Wish, again, that is a miss, so we're just going to be picking up some characters for the rest of the turn. I pick up a Scion of the Storm, which is quite large. I'd also love to find another Wizard's Familiar so that we can triple up on that, and then wind up rolling past the Spellweaver, wind up rolling past all of these Echo Woods, and finding ourselves with another Scion of the Storm. I don't quite have enough to pick it up this turn. I could have sold off my whole bench plus the small 45-45 Wizard's Familiar and the Kitty Cutpurse, but ultimately I am just going to lock on to this Scion of the Storm and play this board for the turn, and I'm thinking this one is probably going to be enough. One thing that Horde Dragon can do that is really, really powerful, when you triple Scion of the Storm, you of course have access to tier 7 treasures. So that allows Horde Dragon as a Wonder Waddler to take the games even further and do some truly, truly powerful stuff with a really strong early lead. You can see that the lobby leader here, nobody in this lobby is really giving us too much of an issue, so we are going to take out the Mad Catter, and now we're potentially even onto the finals, and that's going to be up against the Krampus that we just beat 2 turns ago. So I'm feeling pretty good about this one. We'll pick up a Wizard's Familiar, and while I do like Treasure Map, I don't think there's enough time to mess with everything else we've got going on. Then I'm going to find an Aeon on the last turn of the game with the turning the, I think it was the Evil Witch support into an Aeon, and that's going to allow us to cast a whole bunch more spells and add a whole bunch more stats to everything else we got going on. We even have a tree and we have a monster, so we've got targets for all of our cool spells here, and then I'm going to sell off the Golden Chicken just to see if I can't cast a few more spells before the turn's up, and I will be able to. We'll finish off with the Toil and Trouble for just a wee little bit more of stats, and that should be enough to take out this Krampus turned Potion Master. Our characters are just way too big because we found the Hat Ball so much sooner than the rest of the lobby, because of course we are Horde Dragon, aka the new Wonder Waddle. We're going to be looking at new Wonder Waddles all this week, so stick with me. Hopefully you guys had fun with that one. Oops, let me pause it. That was an old video that you guys have already seen. That wasn't a spoiler. Yeah, we're going to be looking at new Wonder Waddle videos all this week, so let me know what you think about this style of content. Definitely a little bit different, going back into the archives a little bit, and I think Horde Dragon, yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of talking in circles now at this point. So we'll end it there. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Luck's Given. Peace.